Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Robert, your regular insurance guy. Just here to talk about another one of my clients and just kind of some experiences that I've been having dealing with different carriers. Excuse me. And for you agents out there, it's very vital, and I'm sure most of you know, it's very important that we know the products that we're dealing with. And I just wanted to kind of talk about my client's story. And this just happened today. I just actually signed her up today. I've been dealing with her for the last couple of days. And she came in on my text feed. And I usually send out like a mass text feed. And she texted me back. And we were communicating for a couple of days. Um, so right off the bat, and I, I don't want to say I'm talking bad about Aetna or whatever. They're a great company. Trust me, I've used them, plenty of times. Um, but one of my last videos, I talked about them, and talk about it a little bit more again. Not trying to be, this is just the reality of kind of how this all transpired. So right off the bat, she said, "I want Aetna. I had Aetna before, and it fell through, and now I need to get new coverage, and I want same day coverage, and I don't want my payment to go up, and I don't want it sound like commercial basically." And I said, "Well." Her name was Flora. I said, "Flora, hon, it's not going to go up as long as you make it a payment. This is not a term." I said, "But I tell you what, if it does lapse again, you'll be older, and of course, the price will go up because insurance is based on basically your age and your health, um, and that's how these premiums are decided." So anyway, I said, "Okay, yeah, no problem. We can do Aetna," and so I wrote everything up. Um, she told me her medical condition, so I input all of that in insurance toolkits. And 75 years old, she says she's really healthy um, outside of the diabetes and the high blood pressure. And I said, "Okay, well," so I told her, "Give me your medications you're taking." So I put all of that in insurance toolkits, and everything came out fine. And then she said, "I hadn't been taking my medication because I don't feel that I need it." I said, "Okay." I said, "Unfortunately, the Medical Information Bureau, they don't know that you're not taking your medication. All they're looking at is what's in your actual file, through your social security number." So she understood that. And I said, "Okay. Um, so let me," she had to give me her banking information. And she said, "You know what? Can I get it for you tomorrow? I really have to look for it. I don't know." Totally understandable. And I said, "Yeah, no worries. I'll call you in the morning." And I said, "But because of your conditions, if it's okay with you, I want to run your information through a new carrier I was just appointed to, Transamerica, very popular." And she said, "Oh yeah, I heard of them before, but I want Aetna." And I said, "That's fine. That's fine." I said, "I just want to do this as a just in case." Um, I said, Transamerica, they have a new product, FE Express Solutions. Um, Basically, you can have your arm falling off, your leg falling off, whatever. You can have all these ailments, and then they'll still cover you, not just being funny with it. But they are making a lot more allowances now. And basically, all of my clients that I've been dealing with that were graded, I'm now in the process of actually trying to switch them over to this FE Solutions product, and have been having success with that. And just a side note, as an agent, you always want to make sure that your clients are getting the best product available. Um, if they're graded, you always want to try to see if you can get them something else that may come down the line where they can get a first day coverage. And like I said, I've been having some success with giving some of my graded clients over to this FE FE Express Solutions with Transamerica. Been working out pretty good. So anyway, that night went on, and this was Friday night. It's Saturday right now, but anyways, so Friday night I went ahead and I put her information through, and she got coverage through Transamerica through their FE Solution product, and it was first day coverage. And I said, okay. So called her the next morning. She had her banking information. Now with Aetna, you have to have everything submitted before they can even get you, you know, a solution on which you're going to qualify for before decisions even made. So of course I had to have all the banking information. And once I got all that, I input everything. And I said, okay, now Transamerica, you are approved first day coverage. I said, now it is a little bit higher. Okay, it's not the 141 for 20,000 with Aetna. It's going to be 168 with Transamerica. Part of that being they offer this great concierge program called Everest. That's part of the package. This is a free deal that is offered with your FE solutions with Transamerica. So partially that's part of the bump up. So said it'd be a little bit more, but I said I feel it's worth it. You're getting first day coverage, and you have this concierge service. You call them up and they'll get everything situated for you. So I think it's a great deal, and a lot of people are kind of coming over for that as well. So anyway, I said, okay, well, let's put everything in, and sure enough, she wasn't approved through Aetna. So and it stated because of medications or whatever. And I was like, okay. I said, all right, Flora. So, honey, this is where we are. So she's like, what? No, it wasn't. I said, no, it wasn't. And so we have this one over here. You're already approved. Or we can try to go through another carrier. But I said, honey, it's probably going to be the same result. Um, with Transamerica, this is a new product. So they're being a little bit more lenient as far as people getting covered. So she said, okay, well, let's go with this one. I said, okay. So I explained the concierge service and everything and the price. And so we ended up bumping it down to 17,000. So she's paying that for 143. Um, so she's very happy. Same day coverage. Um, she has big plans. And I said, 20,000, honey, that's a lot, And I said, your area, you only need roughly, 9,000. That'll take care of, you know, traditional, burial, and maybe add on a couple of 2 or 3 thousand, 15 at the most, but 20. And she said, no, because I want to have T-shirts with my pictures on it, with all the grandkids, so they can all wear them, and my family can wear the T-shirt with my face printed on it. And I said, okay, so you want to have a shindig? Okay, so no worries. I said, I got you. I got you. So she said, so what I want to do, we'll do the 17 now. And then in a few months, I'm going to bump it up. I said, okay, not a problem. Okay. So we got her all squared away. And basically, I'm saying all of this just to say we as agents, we have to learn our products. I'm constantly, listening to podcasts and trying to, learn different things, different techniques, in and outs, what have you, different products that are coming on the market through the same carriers that we all use. And I only deal with 4, 5 out of the 19 that I'm appointed, but that's all I really need. You don't need a whole lot of different carriers to deal with. You'll find your 3 or 4 or 5 that can do everything that you need, including IULs, including terms as well. Um, so learn your product. Make sure you're doing the best that you can for your clients, and always try to be on the lookout to find them the best. And just to clarify that, I mentioned the some of my other clients that I'm dealing with as far as switching them over. I'm actually losing money on this. So you can't make it about, just the money part. You have to want to make sure that you're doing what you can possibly do what's best for your client. So always keep that in mind. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in again. This is Robert, your regular insurance guy. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.